Sorry, I had to start a second recording here to finish off the last two slides. Um, we were talking about business cycle calendars, and the time between those two peaks or those two troughs are what's considered a business cycle calendar. So in that picture, I kind of showed you the two tops and what would be the two troughs. And whatever's considered in the time between that is what's considered the business cycle calendar. So moving on to economic fluctuations, economists like to refer to what we, layman's, businessmen consider a business cycle, those two peaks or two troughs, as an economic fluctuation. So it's the same thing as a business cycle, but it sounds more economic when they call it an economic fluctuation, which is probably a better description of what's happening because the economy is fluctuating up and down. But in the business world, it makes more sense for them to call it a business cycle. But it's the same thing, two different ways of talking about it. I would say business cycle, to me, that sounds pretty generic. A business cycle could be anything, but what that trough and peaks really are and what they do is a reflection of what's going on in the economy. So economic fluctuation really is a better description for that cycle. So keep that in mind. I think that'll be on the test. So one of the ideas that Milton Friedman believed was that the economic fluctuations were only when the money supply could not keep pace with the output of production. So what that means is that there wasn't enough cash out in the economy to keep up with how much product was being put out for people to buy. And that's what makes the cycle go up to a peak and down to a trough, is when the supply couldn't keep up. That was one of the ideas that Milton Friedman came up with to kind of reason out why that was occurring. And I can't say that's totally true because there's a lot of other factors going on, but I think that does play a part in why that happens. So to talk about the trough time, which is considered the recession part of that business cycle, that's when you're seeing the decline in real GDP and income, which we kind of went over a little bit already, and when profits and income go down, and when there's a rise in unemployment. Kind of showed you that on the last video where with that visual. The trough is when the recession is occurring. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is that when natural disasters happen is when there's an interruption in the supply, in which you'll also can see a recession happen. So that wraps up Unit 9, and I hope you guys were able to follow along and answer the questions in your homework while you watch this, as a lot of these are tied right into the homework questions that I had for you. So good luck on that, and hopefully we'll see you soon.